What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Euphoric Consciousness. I got a great video for you guys today. So today I just want to highlight something about what I think is going on in the world and my interpretation of how I think things are going to play out, and just some speculation and critical thinking, because that is a must in today's world, in today's society. Is critical thinking is not something that most people really partake in. And that's not to be like a jab by any means, or any like assertive claim about you guys, because for all I know, you guys could be just as much as a critical thinker as I am, considering you're watching my videos. But nonetheless, I just noticed a lot of people are so stuck in the paradigm of just the C word, the C word and the P word, that it's become their entire lives, where they literally, everything they do revolves around that specific thing. So it becomes to the point where it's almost their identity. So people just don't get outside of that box, and they don't want to challenge their beliefs on what could potentially be going on in the world. And they just don't want to make themselves uncomfortable, because then they have to be honest with themselves, and they have to be willing to change everything that they thought was true, which is now false. So I completely understand, and especially when you have psychological warfare going on in the world. And psychological warfare is it's obviously not worse than literally like people dying, but psychological warfare is some of the worst type of warfare you could possibly do to somebody, because you are messing with someone's mind, and you are leading people to do heinous things. You are leading people to become less human. Like one of these guys at my gym, he is a personal trainer, and he is a very kind, loving person, and he's open to discussing stuff, but his clients are so against people who are just speculative of the C word. And he was telling me that his clients basically say, like, all the Republicans deserve to die, they should burn in hell, all that crazy talk. That's just completely nonsense. So these people have become so wrapped up in this narrative where it's not even about the health part of it anymore. It's just about being on a side where you feel powerful and you feel like you're part of a movement. So challenging your belief in such a strong paradigm isn't going to be for the faint of heart, and a lot of people are going to be stuck in this for the rest of their lives. I think with these few videos and these few links that I'm going to show you, I think that things are changing. And as much as I don't like seeing like violent riots, I don't know what else is going to happen. I mean, time and time again throughout human history, there has been uproarings when governments overstep their citizens. And it's the same. Like, everyone has this weird idea that just because we're not like in the Wild West, or we're not back in like the 1800s or 1700s, 1400s, where we don't have technology, doesn't mean it's not the same morals or ethics and all that stuff doesn't apply to present day. It still does. So I think when we have governments that are overreaching their boundaries and forcing people to get the V word, or giving them an ultimatum that if they don't get it, they can't work anymore. Like, there's clearly something wrong there's clearly something wrong right now. And again, as much as I don't want to see these types of videos, it does make me somewhat happy to see people are standing up to what's going on in the world, because whether you believe it or not, this is an overreach of the government, period. Because there are things that you don't see behind the scenes that you kind of have to search for. And not just that, like I said, stepping out of your paradigm is extremely difficult. So you have to be able to come from a neutral point of view. If you are someone who's speculative, of people like such as myself, who are very against everything that they're doing currently with the P word, I'm very against everything of it. And it, at first, I was someone who believed all of it, every single aspect of it. I was trying to be a good citizen, do my part in the world to keep people healthy. And then the more I saw, the more BS I saw. And the more I dug into it, the more lies I saw. And the more lies I saw, the more the more I realized this is about two things. This is about power and this is about money. So the money comes into cryptocurrency. So you can check out my second channel and link that in the description below. Give that a second look to understand about the economic point of view of what's going on in the world. But here's another video of just people coming to protest all throughout. This is in Paris. So you have hundreds of people. I mean, there's thousands of people. This is just one small part of the city. So there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people all across over the world protesting. So this is the Netherlands, Paris, Vienna, all over the world, guys. So then I saw this article that I came across. Let me pause this really quickly. So it says mystery emerges among the C-19 patterns in Los Angeles County. Unvaccinated people continue to become infected, hospitalized, and killed by the coronavirus at dramatically higher rates. This peculiar pattern is developing in Los Angeles County that has the health officials puzzling for an explanation. So one thing you guys need to know is how these ventilators work too, and a specific drug that they give people when they go into the hospital with C-19. It's called remdesivir. So if you Wikipedia all of these, you can find where are the let me go to Wikipedia. Side effects. The most common adverse in people treated with remdesivir were respiratory failure and blood biomarkers of organ impairment, including low albumin, low potassium, low count of red blood cells, low count of thrombocytes, I don't know how to say that word, and even elevated bilirubin. Other reported adverse effects include gastrointestinal disease, elevated transaminase levels in the blood, infusion site reactions, blah 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 blah. Infusion related reactions such as nausea, vomiting, sweating, shivering. It makes the liver all out of whack. So you're giving somebody that has respiratory failure as a side effect for a respiratory virus. And what you guys need to understand medically about respiratory machines and ventilators is when you give somebody a medicine such as this that has side effects of respiratory failure, and you put somebody on a ventilator, you are taking away your body's natural way of breathing. So you're forfeiting your rights on that ventilator, because when you give somebody a ventilator, that's specifically designed when your body can't produce the ability to breathe in oxygen. That's the only time you're supposed to get it. So people think that when you have trouble breathing, putting yourself on a ventilator is a good thing, when in reality it's actually bad. So you have two things: a drug that's making your lungs fail in the first place, a second, putting yourself on a ventilator when that's specifically designed for purposes such as you're already coming into the hospital with lung failure, not coming into the hospital with hard breathing. There are other medicines for lung issues that aren't such as a ventilator or this medicine. So I wanted to point that out too. And you can look this up, public information, that most hospitals this is mostly used for treatment in COVID-19. And all of these, I'm not even gonna click on them because I know they're good. The DuckDuckGo is compromised. Most websites are compromised, and a lot of these websites are run by the same people. So even if you do go through some of these, I guarantee you they're not gonna put in the actual information. And then I want to quickly going off that, the guy at the gym, okay, my friend who got the Moderna scene. That's what he got. Healthiest guy at the gym. he has the myocarditis heart problem now, and he went to the doctors again and asked them, what's the problem? And they're like, have some antibiotics, take that, come back in a week. Comes back in a week, still there. He says, what should I do? He said, wait. He's like, all right, I'll wait. So he goes back a week later. Doctor says, I don't know, man, just give it more time, but you should take your booster. And then he said, no, I'm not going to do that, obviously. And then a week later, called back, and then he's like, well, next time you come in, I think we're going to have to put you under the ventilator. This is literally what the doctor said to my friend, verbatim. So it's really scary to see that, especially in the state that I'm in. You would never think that would actually be coming to right next to your foot doorstep, but it's here, unfortunately. So this is really happening, guys. Like, I actually know somebody now in the real world who has been the healthiest person I've ever seen, my inspiration to get myself in shape, now has all these side effects after getting the scene. Not before, after. Australia is to become the first European country to make vaccinations against the C-19 mandatory and will go into its fourth nationwide lockdown for at least 10 days from Monday, the Chancellor Alexander Schallenberg has announced. The government said it was preparing for legal groundwork for a general vaccine mandate to come into effect from the 1st of February, with exemptions for those who are unable to receive the jab on medical grounds. The age from which people will be able to be vaccinated has not been yet determined, the government said. Those refusing to be vaccinated are likely to face administrative fines, which can be converted into a prison sentence if the fine cannot be recovered. So you have places like this in Australia now that are making it so if you don't take the scene, you're going to go to prison. And you already know in prison they're going to do some crazy messed up stuff to you. So at that point, your life's already over. So I hate saying it, but if I was there, I probably would just get it. I would probably get the J&J because it doesn't have any mRNAs in it. But it's really sad to see this stuff. And my message for this video is for you guys to talk about this stuff with the world, because now is not the time to shy away from it by any means. And for a long time, I thought just ignoring it and focusing on myself was the best thing. And it is for some people, don't get me wrong, but this is one of the largest operations in human history. There's just something going on. I'm not going to say specifically what, but there's something seriously sinister going on in the world, and I don't want to see everyone suffering. And I pray to God I'm wrong in the end. But now that I know someone who, the healthiest person I know, who's now sick, is really concerning to me. So please talk about this with people, because we need to strike conversation with the people. We need to get people to question what's really going on and question what authority the government really has, because I think history doesn't repeat itself, it often rhymes. So I think through history we can learn from our past and not make the same mistake, but we're at that point again and we're making the same mistake again. How many times are we gonna have to make the same mistake as humanity knows itself? It's like I just don't get why I'm so knowledgeable with this stuff. Other people are knowledgeable with this stuff, but for the most part, everyone is just so asleep to these things. And I'm not making any accusations to anything. I'm just more concerned about how overreaching the government has become. Even with Cash App, or not even Cash App, any bank account that you register with KYC in the US, if you have $600 or more, the IRS is watching you. So it's like, I don't care what people claim whatever you want. The only thing that I'm pointing out is the fact that the government is extremely forceful right now. And that very, very much concerns me. So one thing too is Pfizer just basically said they want to extend it to 2074 to release their documents. So that's 50 something years before they would release their research on it. Why, if they don't have anything to hide, why not release it now? Last thing, in Germany, which is also planning to lock down the unvaccinated, a constitutional lawyer proposes that those who repeatedly refuse a potential state order to take the jab be brought before the vaccinated by the police. So basically, you just are brought and you're going to get the jab. So I saw this comment. Why are they so insistent on vaccinating those who don't want this medicine when herd immunity is a scientific known fact and like 70-90% of European SD got full. I gotta wrap this up real quickly. Anyways, I gotta get going. But if the vax doesn't work as initially marketed, cannot eradicate the virus, and everyone will get it by the force. So this incentivizes to me that people are starting to ask questions on Twitter. You know, like I'm a huge person with crypto, so I kind of connect the two in terms of when like things are starting to get talked about on mainstream. That's when there's usually like a blow off top kind of event. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the next few months. If things are going to change for the better, which I do believe they are. I think that humanity is starting to take a step forward in the right direction of saying no, of rising together and just making it known that we want our own freedoms. We don't need the government to hold our hand and tell us what we can and can't do and what we can and can't buy. We are independent citizens who love our freedom, and we're not going to hand that over easily. So if you guys, again, get anything out of this video, I mean, we need to talk about this stuff with people. So make sure you're opening your voices, using your voices, because that is the most powerful weapon that we have, is our voices in a situation such as this. And we have one chance in not allowing this to turn into something much worse than it could be. So if you guys enjoyed the video, give me a subscription to my Patreon, please. I'd really appreciate it. Gotta help everybody out in the community. Got a lot of good things planned for the Patreon, and obviously a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about, YouTube will definitely take down. So subscribe to the Patreon for early access to videos, for videos that will be taken down or whatever. I have a lot of ideas planned for charity and just making a better impact on the world as well. So if you do enjoy the video, share it with somebody who can benefit from it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, drop a comment, because it does help me get out into the YouTube sphere. And just generally, we need to spread the word. So do everyone a favor and spread the message. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode of Euphoric Consciousness. Have a blessed day, everybody. Peace out.